This is Tatiana Diomi, news reporter for The Rundown, and you're listening to The Rundown, only on WNYU 89.1 FM. A month to celebrate and a month to remember Hispanic Heritage Month creatives about their work and culture. Let's learn how these creatives combine their culture and work together to build a community, leave some sort of impact, and representation.
My name is Anayaka. I'm a singer, songwriter, and influencer. I make music, usually R&B, but I really just like any type of music. I am Panamanian American. My parents are both immigrants from Panama. And I'm the first generation of my family to live here. So I'm somebody, I wear a lot of gold jewelry. It's a part of Panamanian culture. I make sure I keep my Panamanian jewelry on me, because since I was a little girl, it's the only jewelry that I ever really wore. And for a while, I used to feel like, not insecure about it, but just funny about it because I would see everybody else with American jewelry and I'm like, oh, I want to wear that. But now as an adult, I really do love my Panamanian jewelry the most. And I try to do things highlighting the culture, like talking about the Panamanian Day Parade that I've been going to since I was a little girl. I try to definitely highlight it in different ways, like when a lot of the ice raids were going on. I thought it would be cool to tell my family's immigration story because there was such a distorted view on what it meant to be an immigrant or what an immigrant looked like or the life of an immigrant. And I thought it was very important to just give people a different perspective. So I try to incorporate my work as organically as I can, informing people while also remaining relatable in the sense of a lot of people have immigrant parents and things like that. Hispanic Heritage Month, it really is a special little time for me because I feel like for a long time as an Afro-Latino and as a no sabo kid, I always felt slightly alienated from my Hispanic identity. Like I felt like for a long time as a kid, I felt the need to prove I was Hispanic or Latino. And obviously the disconnection from my language and I can get through a conversation. My parents are fluent, but that and also being black and dark skin, it just for a long time it kind of felt like mm, I'm not really Hispanic. So it's like as I get older and I get more comfortable in my identity and understanding that other people's perception of what it means to be Hispanic or Latino doesn't affect that I am, And so I like Hispanic Heritage Month. I love to do a special little video every time highlighting my culture. So it does mean a lot to me.
Hello, my name is Alessandra Clarke. I'm an Afro-Panamanian artist, and I would say that the main thing I do is music. But us as artists, we're multifaceted, so I also do a lot of things involving fashion. I'm also a visual artist. I love doing nails, hair, all of that good stuff. My heritage, I would say that it is Afro-Pan American. I don't know if that's a word, but what does that mean to me? It means Afro-Panamanian and African American. My dad's side of the family and him are African American, and my mom's side are Afro-Panamanian. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I never really lived here, and we moved to Panama when I was 5, and I've been there ever since. Spanish is my first language. All my family on my mom's side speaks Spanish, and our heritage is very, very, very important to us. It plays every single part. Our contributions to not only music but the entertainment world and the entertainment industry in general, and people don't really know that. So that's why in my artistry and my music, I strive to include Panama and its roots in everything that I do. For example, if you see me, I'm always wearing something that has to do with Panama. Either my Ojo de Venado chain or my Panamanian jewelry or quite literally all the jerseys that I have that say Panama. And on the other side, in my music, you can hear the Panamanian influences, whether that be in the language, the way I speak, the way I talk, the slang that I use, or more directly in the sound. I think that the importance of me showing the representation of my heritage is because nobody is really doing it. Nobody is really worried how Panamanian culture is slowly dying within the communities that are outside of Panama. Another thing, very, very huge thing and very relevant now in the music space that we are, reggaeton was started because of reggae en español by pioneer artist named El General in Panama. If it was not for reggae en español, which is reggae in Spanish, reggaeton would not be a thing. And it's very important for people to know that because reggaeton is topping all the charts right now. And Panama had everything to do with it. So I think that people should really look up to my work, especially if they want to learn.
My name is Daianne Barros. I was born in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro specifically. But my parents moved us, the entire family, to Florida when I was 8 years old. So I was raised in South Florida my whole life. Like I mentioned before, I have a degree in marketing, and now I'm getting my MBA in Orlando. And yeah, and I recently started my social media journey because I thought, everybody was doing it. There's so many like normal people getting into social media. So I was like, I can do that. You know what I mean? Like I can turn on a camera and talk about myself. And so, that's how that part kind of got started. So to be honest, growing up in Florida, I was extremely disconnected with my Brazilian heritage. So one of the things that my parents did when I was really young was take us to more Americanized spaces so that we learned English quicker and we got assimilated with the culture quicker. And their goal was so that we didn't have such a hard time in the United States. They wanted us to succeed in school. And so we're like, they thought that we had to get, really involved with American culture. So it wasn't until after I turned 18 that I got reconnected with my Brazilian culture, where I kind of had to learn everything that I didn't learn growing up because I left when I was 8 years old. So I had to go back and relearn everything. And then when I started doing social media, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. So I did different videos about anything. I talked about work, I talked about school. And then when I started talking about where I was from, I saw that that was getting a lot of attention because the truth is a lot of people don't know even where Brazil is on a map. So when I started talking about my culture and things to do in Brazil and being from Rio de Janeiro, I saw that that was getting more engagement. So I was like, let me get into that. So I started talking about that, and then I had to go back and learn even more about my culture because I wasn't raised there. So yeah, that was a really interesting part of the whole social media journey for sure. So posting on social media definitely did help understand different perspectives because Brazil's so big, you know what I mean? And I only understand what I went through. So hearing everybody's stories, and I'm actively searching, looking for what other people are saying, has definitely opened my horizon, and it just makes me excited to learn even more, you know what I mean? And there is a little bit of guilt. And to be honest, when I was younger, like I wasn't even interested, because when we left Brazil, we didn't live in the best part of Brazil. And so I had this perception that it was crap, like it was garbage, and everything there sucked. It was so violent. I had such a negative perception of Brazil. And it wasn't until I became an adult, like you, where I started to like go back and be very like active in my research and intentional, where I'm like, "Oh, I was so wrong, so there's definitely a little bit of guilt there for sure. And to be honest, I'm still working through it, and that's part of the whole like social media thing. I'm actively trying to invite my friends who I've never before tried to immerse them in my culture. I'm trying to invite them to learn with me. So whenever possible, we're like, hey, there's this event going on in Miami. Let's go check it out. It's, a Brazilian music, or sometimes they have a little Brazilian festival. Let's go to a little Brazilian restaurant. Let's go. So it's more of like a social thing. And I know that that sense of discovery will be shared amongst all of my friends because I'm learning too, So, doing it with, inviting my friends and doing it with them is essential for me, has been really, really important. Last year, I actually took my friends to Rio de Janeiro, and it was a good place to take my friends because I know Rio pretty well. I go there, at least once a year for the past like 10 years. So bringing in my friends has helped, me get more in it outside of just social media. That was another thing that I learned very recently. I didn't realize how important representation was. Again, like I didn't grow up with this. So once I started posting on social media and I saw how proud people are of their own country, and how exciting it is when I post something positive about Brazil and all the Brazilians are like, yes, this is true. Like we love, that you're talking about it. So for example, I posted like a quick video about a really popular dish, feijoada, and it was just like, look at this here. What do you guys call this? You know, kind of thing. And the Brazilians were all over it. Like they're just so proud of their culture, you know what I mean? And here in the United States, we're a melting pot. So when we give spaces for people to speak about their culture, be proud of it, and show it off, I think that's super important because, especially in the Brazilian community, they're super, super proud, regardless of what they're going through in their country. If they're going through hardship or they're successful out there, they are going to represent. You know what I mean? So it's really important that they have that space to do that. You know what I mean? And it's just, I mean, it makes everyone happy and it brings everyone together. So it's super important having conversations with my parents about it because growing up, they understood that I wasn't interested. And now that I am, they're excited to tell me about, where they're from. So that's super exciting as well. So in one of my social media posts, I joked that my parents should be arrested because they didn't teach me Brazilian music. And they didn't teach me how to dance. As a joke, obviously. But now my dad's like, have you heard of this guy? This guy's really good. And he sends me all of these people from like the 70s, which is amazing. So bonding over that with your parents as an adult is so much fun. So all of that has helped.
Again, this has been Tatiana Diomi for The Rundown, only on 89.1 FM.